Fast Paddler. In today's episode, we're going to be doing a video review on the Old Town Topwater 120 PDL. Now, I've had this boat for some time, so now I thought it would be a good time to do a video review on it. I did an initial impression review on it on a previous episode where I talked about some of the misconceptions I had from switching from the Old Town Topwater 120 standard version to the PDL version. Now that I've had the boat for a long time, I thought it would be a good time to go ahead and do that review. Now, this is going to be a very unbiased review. I'm going to tell you what I like, I'm going to tell you what I don't like, and I'm going to show you some of the things I've done to modify the kayak to enhance my enjoyment of using it on the water. Again, it's my belief that all reviews should be unbiased, not lean one way or another, to help you, the viewer, make a decision in purchasing a kayak. Because let's face it, kayaks are an investment. So stay tuned. We're going to go over a couple of things about the kayak. We're going to show some on the water footage. Hope you enjoy the video. Thanks for watching. Let's get to it. I thought you'd like some footage of my Crocs. No, just kidding. First thing I want to talk about is the drive system of the kayak. It's very smooth. I don't have to exert a lot of energy in regards to getting this boat to move large distances. It's comfortable to use. I don't have experience with other bicycle style drive versions, just the Old Town, but I can tell you that I enjoy this one a lot. It's very smooth, not very noisy at all, and it's nice and tight. There's multiple adjustment points to this drive system that help you really lock it down. And I've had absolutely no water coming in from the bow of the boat because it's been adjusted to fit in dead center. I really enjoy using this drive. Pros and cons of a drive like this. The pros, it's smooth, it's a natural motion for your legs like riding a bike. Instant reverse, you can't go wrong. Cons of a drive like this type, again, unlike fin drives where you can push your feet a certain way and have the fins fold up under the bottom of your boat if you get into real nasty stuff like weed beds or oyster beds, you don't have that option here. Now what you can do is figure out where your prop is to the shaft and stop your feet to help protect the prop, but again, you will hit bottom if you're not cautious. So I recommend keeping an eye on your fish finder just to manage your depths, especially if you're an inshore person who fishes around oyster beds and stuff. You don't want to make a mess of your drive or the bottom of your kayak for that matter. Now this drive is meant to pop up if you hit the bottom of something. I have not done that. I'm very cautious with my gear, but again, if you do hit solid bottom, this button right here will pop up. The drive will pop up and that'll help save your drive from extensive damage. Another part I really like about this drive is this compartment right here. I can keep all my personals in there, my wallet, car keys, reading glasses if you're my age. It's stuff that I don't have to keep on my person. I can keep it right here, it's within reach, and I know it's safe because it's attached to the drive that's attached to the boat. So again, that's a really nifty feature I really come to enjoy, is this standard compartment right here. Now, a lot of questions I get are, how does this boat paddle with the drive, and how does this boat paddle without the drive? So we're going to take a look at that now. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is this is a PDL kayak. You don't have the foot braces to control the rudder. So if you're paddling with the rudder down, again, the kayak tracks beautifully. To me, it paddles just as good as the standard version. But if you're going to change direction at all and need to make a sharp turn, you have to stop paddling and go ahead and adjust your rudder as so. That's really the only difference between paddling this boat and paddling a standard version with the rudder. Other than that, the boat paddles beautifully. I've had it out a couple times in a couple areas. No complaints whatsoever. Now, one of the reasons I'm able to paddle this kayak so easily is the fact that I have a deck plate. Now, at the time that this video was made, Old Town does not sell a deck plate for the Topwater series. So this one was purchased aftermarket. And what I mean by that is you're going to see a lot of people out there who actually make these on their own. Whether they make it out of starboard or they cut a piece of cutting board. There's a lot of different varieties out there. This particular one was made by a gentleman by the name of Justin Brainham. And I ran into him on one of the Old Town Topwater owners pages on Facebook. As you see, it fits beautifully to cover the hull, and I've actually decked it out with some Sea Deck as well as a Yak Attack Mighty Mount and a tie down, which this strictly adds for somewhere to attach a tether or just to give me something to grab and pull the plate out. Now, as you see, that's what it looks like without the plate. The water stays relatively low in the hull, but if you're paddling, that water will come up and splash into your cockpit. So again, that's why I definitely recommend either making your own deck plate or finding one aftermarket that someone makes and sells online. So as far as paddling the kayak with the drive in, again, it is heavy. It does add a little drag, but the kayak can be paddled. We're out in Fellsmere right now. We're going through a pretty weedy area, but I am paddling the kayak. The rudder is up because of the weeds, and it's tracking rather well. Again, it does feel a little heavy. A little bit of water is coming through the hole on the floor, but it's running right out. It's not filling up with water, so it's not something I feel would be a safety concern. But again, for people asking about paddling this boat with and without the drive, you can do both. Obviously, without the drive is a lot easier, but you can do both when needed. So it's just a great all-around paddling boat. Absolutely love the sleek lines of this boat. Super stable boat. I've stood on it sideways, I've stood on it backwards, I've stood on it forwards. She doesn't move. So comfortable to fish out of. I'm not worried about flipping over. This boat is just one of the most stable boats I've ever been in. One of the key reasons I bought this boat, and there's only two that I was looking at, was the room in the cockpit. A lot of pedal drives, whether you have the bicycle style pedal drive or the fin drive, you don't have a lot of room in the cockpit, at least as much as I would like to have. So that was one of the selling points for me, was how much room there is to stand comfortably. Now obviously if you're fishing in water where you have your drive up because you're in really thick weeds and maybe you're punching like I was once, you want to keep in mind that you do have a giant hole in your floor here and you want to watch where you step. But even with the drive up, there's still lots of room for your feet. The seat is adjustable to give you more room. You can move it back if you want, using the adjustment knobs here on the sides. Just an incredible boat as far as stability goes. I changed out the seat to the Predator version. Now the standard seat that came with it was a nice seat, but it wasn't great. After fishing out of it a couple times at long days on the water, I realized it really started to hurt my bum. So I went ahead and I ordered the Predator seat from Old Town. It's a direct fit, just like the Old Town Topwater seats. You don't have to make any modifications, and it just makes a world of difference. I have lower back issues, so I have yak pads here, but the seat that it comes with is okay for short distances. If you're someone who maybe have back problems or a numb bum like me, you may want to go ahead and upgrade and pick up the Old Town Predator seat, the PDL version Predator, because it's a direct fit and it just really enhances the comfort of the boat. I want to talk about the bow of the boat. Now the boat, like I said, has beautiful sleek lines, but the bow of the boat is low in the water. It's not higher up like say the Predator series. So you will get an occasional splash over the front if you're paddling against the current and let's say intercoastal waters. I will say, unlike the Topwater, this bow does move water from the front down into the hole here. It doesn't come into the cockpit. If it does get into the rod channels here, it quickly drains to the scupper plugs right there. So really happy with how this water drains off the front of this kayak. If I'm out in inshore fishing and I'm taking some chop from boats that are going too fast in the inlet or something along those lines, I'm not worried about a lot of water coming up. It drains beautifully through the front here, and it drains quickly, so you don't have to worry about it building up and possibly seeping into your hatch there. So this is a really great design by Old Town. So again, if you want to take this boat in big inshore, go right ahead. She can handle it. Lots of room in the hatch. I've mentioned this in previous videos. Have a Tough Crate by Flambeau. I have my Bison 12-can cooler in the back for my water and lunch. So again, plenty of room there, but still a room to spare in the back. Now, one modification I made back here is the hatch, and I do have a video on how I did that and did the install, but just to show you, this is the Ocean Kayak 6-inch hatch, and why I did that was I'm looking down the road to either adding possibly a power pole or one of those manual shallow anchors here, or perhaps even adding some more tracking here. This will allow me to get to the inside of the kayak and the back end of the kayak, where there's a hatch under the seat that will allow you to get towards your center area. This will now allow me to access the inside. I do have a video on how I installed that, so you can check that out if there's something you might want to do with your Topwater. Old Town did a great job with the rudder controls. Again, I know I'm on land, but just easy to deploy and raise your rudder with just using this simple lever here on the side. Gone are the days of pulling on the bungee and rope tied with fisherman's knots to get your rudder up and down. Nice and simple. Other side of the boat is your steering here. You can grab this knob if you want. I prefer to palm it and go like this, keep it in between my fingers. It has a tension knob here, similar to that of on a baitcaster reel. If you're going down a channel and you want to lock the rudder in place, you can just tighten this up. Or if you want to loosen it up so you have a little bit more play for steering, you can do that. Keep in mind, if you over tighten it and try to steer, you will cut into the plastic, so just keep an eye on that you're not over tightening when you're trying to use the rudder control. But again, very easy to use, very comfortable to use. Again, I palm it like I do the side of a baitcaster, and she does turn great. Now, what about this turning radius of this boat? How does that look? Let's take a look now. So we'll take a moment to talk about turning radius. I don't know how wide this canal is, and really turning radius, there's many variables, so I'm not going to worry about measurements so much. But as you see, I'm going to face this way, rudder's down, I'm going to turn it all the way. Turning radius is not that bad at all. Again, this is a shorter boat, 12 feet. And it has a wide beam, but it turns rather well. The radius isn't bad at all, considering it's a shorter, wider boat. So unless you're in a really tight canal, turning radius will not be a problem with the pedals. If you are in a tight canal, just use your paddle. It's always good to have one handy anyway in case of an emergency, but turning radius on this boat is good as well. Now, yes, I do have a fish finder installed on here, but you can watch how I did that on another video that I did on my channel about how I have my Topwater 120 PDL rigged. What I really want to talk about is what Old Town did that really made the installation a lot easier to do. Let's check it out. This bad boy right here, the transducer mounting bracket. Simply remove 2 screws, install your transducer mount right to the bracket, reinstall the bracket, boom, done. Track systems are great on this boat. I have Railblazer, I have Yak Attack, I have Ram accessories, all fitted with no problem at all. Plenty of space on there for a variety of accessories. As you can see here, I have a Yak Attack tie down mount here for my Rogue paddle tether. I have a Railblazer base here for my camera boom, so plenty of room. I can even put something up here if I want to, but again, if you have too much on there, it may tend to be areas for line to catch. Now, if we come down here, the paddle keeper. Now, I have seen some videos online, or social media rather, where the rubber portions are snapping over excessive use. I live in Florida. We don't have the cold winters that other areas have, so I'm not sure if that has something to do with it, but I find that the grip itself is pretty secure. Now, again, I do use a Rogue paddle tether for my kayak, but unless I'm going a long distance or I'm transporting the kayak, I really don't use the strap as much, because again, the paddle's in there pretty good. Yes, it will slide, but you got to pull it out. It does hold it pretty securely. And again, use this when you need to. overuse, I guess, in certain areas where you have hot and cold may cause it to dry out a little bit and to snap. But again, you can get these from Old Town pretty inexpensively. I did buy a replacement one for a old Predator that I had bought a while ago, so they're not too bad. So here's the modifications I was talking about on my seat. Justin Brandon from Plastics Plus, who made the deck plate that I referred to earlier, also makes these risers here. This is a 3-inch lift. It's also made where you can go to 1.5-inch lift if you want. They're secured to the seat by bungee. The two halves are held together, but this is what I was referring to earlier. I don't have the best knees, so having this little bit of height here in the rear really helps me stand up even easier in this kayak. There's a lot of anglers out there who are also coming up with their own modifications, but this is just what I was referring to earlier. The flush mount rod holders, while I don't always use them as far as keeping rods out, because they do keep the rods out as an angle, great spot for the net. This one here is a great spot for your rod if you want to keep it next to you if you're retying. I will say I preferred it ahead of the seat, like in the standard Topwater series, but due to the drive and the seat rails and everything else, Old Town's had to move it back here. Just to show you, I'll take a rod. It does still angle forward here, like so, but again, it was a little easier when it was up here, like it was in the Topwater series, the standard version. But again, still nifty to have if you're tying on or have an unruly fish, or you can use one of the other rear flush mount rod holders. But all in all, again, just lots of great options with this boat at the price point of under $2,000. So we've been talking about stability of the kayak, and while my seat is slightly modified, I will show you how easy it is to stand up in this kayak with having this seat in the regular position. And what I mean by that is, right now my seat has risers on it. However, I'm going to take them off and I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate how easy it is to stand in the kayak from the sitting position. Now again, keep in mind that the seat height in this kayak standard is only one position. So in other words, if you have the Topwater 120 or the 106 standard version, I believe there's two different heights you can have that seat at, where the PDL versions are only one height. So again, that's just something to keep in mind, which is one of the reasons I bought the risers, just to lift me up a little bit in the rear of the seat. But let's demonstrate now how easy it is to stand up in this kayak. So I've removed the risers from the rear of my seat. We're in this sitting position now. Again, the seat is standard in one height. I'm still going to bend my knees, and I'm up. Not bad for a 48-year-old. Now, obviously, if you're younger and have better knees than me, you'll have to do it even easier. But again, standing up in the kayak is great. Side-to-side motion is great. Just got to watch where you're stepping. I'm not that nimble, but there I am turning around. I have fished in all directions of the cockpit of this kayak without any issues. And again, I am not the most stable person in the world. Let me tell you, any of my friends will agree with that statement. But again, just a really stable kayak. For what I do and my techniques of fishing, I couldn't ask for a better platform than the Old Town Topwater 120 PDL. All in all, with the few modifications I made to this boat, I absolutely love it. I'm a bass fisherman by heart. I do occasionally fish inshore. Now, I wouldn't say this boat is an offshore boat. I may try it anyway with the help of some of my friends who are more experienced going offshore, just to see how it works out there. But if you're an angler who loves to fish inshore, who loves to fish freshwater, larger bodies of water, smaller bodies of water, this is a great kayak. I definitely recommend you check out the Old Town Topwater 120 PDL or the new Sportsman 120 PDL, which just came out, which has enhanced features that the Topwater PDL does not have. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative. If you have any questions you may have that I didn't answer in the video, drop a comment below and I'll be sure to answer it for you. I'm Bill Sikora. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe, ring that bell, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Tight lines.